Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Vivian Reed. Now, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to like and say nice things. You know we like nice things, not nasty things. Okay, today, this is such a special person who has had a wonderful career. He's done a lot of television, a lot of films, and I'll tell you about his dance in a minute. But anyway, you may remember him from Lost. He was the main character in Lost, and he did the Matrix series, and he's done Law and Order. He's done ER. I mean, there's just a plethora of movies and films and shows that he has done. And you know, when I saw him do Avenue Q, this is before he got into film and television. When I watched him, it made me think of myself. Now, what do I mean by that? He was just so committed, so into that part. He took us somewhere. So, who am I talking about? Nobody other than Harold Perrineau. How you doing, Harold?
That is some introduction. Come on.
Come on now. Come on. Come on. But I'm serious, Harold.
Vivian Reed, that's crazy. This is
Oh,
crazy.
that's right.
This is crazy what's happening here.
But you know what, Harold? I meant that. I remember when I saw you in Avenue Q, and we had already done shows together, and you wanted me to
Right.
come see you in the show, and I sat there. It was like looking at myself in a sense, because when I perform, I go somewhere
Right.
and I want to take the audience somewhere.
Right.
And unless you are totally committed to lyrics and what the dialogue is, what your monologue is all about,
Right.
you can't begin to even go anywhere near where I
Right.
saw you in Avenue Q. So, Harold, let's start with that. What
Start
is
it.
it? How did you find that? Was a lot of that natural, or did you have to search for that? How did you arrive at that?
That's really interesting, because I don't know that I've ever thought about it like that. You know what I mean? I maybe had to arrive at it, but all the sort of like everything I've ever done, I've always felt like you got to focus, like you pay attention. You got to pay attention. When you and I were working together and I was dancing, you got to be in the moves. It's got to be joyous for me, because people connect to other human experience. So I got to be having an experience. Now, I don't know if, I'm sure I learned it somewhere, but that's what makes sense to me. And so then as I started studying acting more, and you really committing to roles and committing to, living, a life that's not your own necessarily. And yeah, I just found like that's just where it is, that's where it lives. I want, like you said, I want to take you on a journey. We're in a theater for a small amount of time. Let's go on a ride. Otherwise, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
So
because there are people, and I have spoken so much on this in different videos. There are a lot of teachers out there who probably shouldn't be teachers, and people giving workshops who don't know what they're doing, and they're telling these young people to pick a spot in front of you and focus on that. And I'm mostly talking about for theater, for musical
right,
theater, or if
right.
they're doing a nightclub act. How in the hell can you focus on a point where you don't veer to the left, veer to the right, you're not using your arms?
Right.
How is that exactly telling a story and spelling out the meaning of the song? I don't get
Right.
it.
Yeah. I remember teachers telling me that same thing too. They're like, look right up there at the balcony and just look at the center, just above the lights. And I'm like, and I remember doing that and like trying to be focused, but it's like, I'm looking at a light.
It was weird. So okay, this is interesting that you bring this up, that you also were told to do that, because I stopped my students from doing that. They cannot, and they all come with that.
Right.
And that's not a deal breaker when I'm choosing them as my students, as my voice students. But I tell them, I have a mission statement. You have to break this. you cannot perform this way. I will help you. But if
Right.
all you want to do is continue doing what you've been doing, I am not the teacher for you. So,
Oh,
how
okay.
did your teachers told you to do this, so how did you break away from that? Did you think this is crazy? Because I'm going to tell y'all look crazy. When people do that, you all look comatose. You all look like something is wrong with you.
You just make me laugh. Like I said, something about it didn't feel right. Like I can look there, but even if sometimes I'm looking there, I'm engaged in something that I'm doing. You know, you're always doing something, right? When you're
Yes.
singing, when you're acting, like you're not just singing, you're saying the words because you're doing something. You have an actual action. And
Yes.
so whenever, I'm looking out there, if I'm talking to, my mom who's passed on, or if I'm talking to
Okay,
my
you paint that
mother,
picture. You
yeah,
paint
but
that.
yeah, but like I'm actually engaged in talking. Do you ever just sit and talk to if you pray, or if you talk to people who are passed, and you don't even have a picture, you're just talking to them?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
it does make sense. Yes.
and I understand that there are technical things, especially in theater, of having my head a certain position, but I can talk to someone over there, or over here, but I got to talk to them. I can't look at the light. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, yes, but here's my thing. I ditto everything you just said. It's you have to see that person that you're talking to, even though they're
Right.
not there.
Right.
If I tell my students, if you see it, the audience will see it.
Right.
Those are the times when you talk about focusing. Those are the times where, okay, like I'll make up something. I was thinking about you the other day. Oh, I can see you. Because
Right. Right.
that's where you focus. Those are the times within your delivery that
Mhm.
you would want to focus on something, because you
Right.
want to take the audience where you are in your mind's eye. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I'm not surprised that you found that really basically on your own, because you're just not that kind of performer. I've
Yeah.
just, even when let's talk about the dance for a second.
Okay.
Even because we met in Italy doing a series of TV specials, even in your dance,
Right.
it said something. Because what
Right.
is the point? You can develop your leg up to here, or you can do all of these technical things, but if
Right.
nothing is behind it, if nothing
Right.
comes from the inside, then
Right.
what is the audience getting? Would you speak on that for a minute?
Yeah. Look, there are lots of dancers who are technically brilliant, and I will never take away from anybody's technique. Dancers, singers, actors. I rely on my own technique as well. But like I was saying before, human beings respond to other human beings. They respond to real
Yes.
emotion. They respond to real action. Like right now, I'm telling this story to you, but I'm very passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, people will respond to the passion. They're not going to respond just to the words, but it is
The
the
passion.
feeling that emanates from my whole chest. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Out at something. And so when I was dancing and doing all that stuff, there's a joy in the
Oh,
movement, in the like there's every movement that you can feel it in your whole body. And I don't, look, I wasn't always the most technical dancer, but you couldn't say you
didn't
didn't
matter.
feel something when I was dancing. And so like, yeah, I love technical dancers. I love technical performers. I love technical performers who take their technique and then bring their humanity to it. And
Yes.
because that's what I'm looking. That's why we're at the theater. That's why we watch a movie. That's why we respond to people more than we respond to animation. We want to
Yes.
be on an experience that we can relate to, that we can have some empathy towards, or go see ourselves in, or anything like that. And that's what I aspire to. That's what I try to do, no matter what I'm doing. So
But you speak of joy. I think, and you can tell me how you feel about this. Well, I kind of already know. Joy is something that you want to have coming into this business. The joy of looking forward to what your career is going to do, the
Yeah.
love of what this is, because it is difficult. The
Yeah.
joy must all, I think, must basically be there from the beginning. That
Hmm.
passion that you spoke of. I mean, I love being on stage. I love when people come up to me afterwards and say, "You made me think, you made me cry, you made me laugh," touching on the emotions, because I think it is our job as performers, be it television, be it film,
Yeah.
nightclub, concert, records, because even
Right.
making music
Yeah.
for it to be streamed, or if you want to sell a CD, if
Right.
people still buy them, you you you're not seen now. You're not
Right.
seen at all. So it's a matter of you getting that emotion across in the
Right.
audio.
Right. 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 And
I
that's not
mean,
hard. That's not easy to do.
no, it isn't.
That is not like especially in singing or being on a mic, I struggle. Like I can do it face to face, but just making it come through on a mic, I struggle. It's hard. Like I envy you. You can do that no matter what. But yeah, it's hard.
Well, okay, let's just say
Yeah.
let's talk about the audition process. Listen up,
Yes.
guys. The audition process.
Yes.
You've been sent sides.
Yes.
This is a new piece.
Okay.
They didn't send the script. They have
Right.
sent you maybe 4 pieces of paper, sides, with dialogue on it, with
Right.
some other characters. And you have a song maybe that you have to. No, let's leave the song out of it. What is your first approach to that? Because you don't know what came before this scene or scenes and what's coming afterwards.
Right.
So, what do you do in
You
order to
know,
go into that audition and be convincing?
right. So this is the whole thing for me. So I'm going to try to be brief. I don't want to, make it run on, but this is a whole thing for me. Auditions are, like you said, I love being on stage, but auditioning, I didn't really like it for a long time. And because, I was trying to fit in whatever box I heard they were looking for. Do you know what I mean? They're looking for this, they're looking for that, they want you to do this. And it wasn't until I let all of that go, right? And I decided that I have to be engaged in whatever
That's it.
this thing is. And so I don't have to know, as per their script, what came before or what comes after, but I do have to know for me what came before and what came after. And I say this all the time. I go into an audition, or when I go to auditions now, I never go to impress anybody. I go in like I'm doing the gig. I go in and I do the gig. And if they dig it, then we'll work together. If they don't, then I got to work out. I got to it's like going to the gym. I got to work on my skill. I got to work on my craft. And then I kept it moving. But I do the gig. Of course, if you get the job, it changes when you have costumes and other actors and all those things. So it changes a bit. But my emotional commitment to it is as if I am doing the job. And
I'm gonna stop
that's
you. Go ahead.
No, that's what I do.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. Okay, so for you, and well, you've made choices. So for you to have made those choices, you probably created a backstory for those scenes.
Yes.
And you've made choices. They may not be the choices that the director has come up with. But here's the funny thing, and this has been said many times during these conversations. You may give the director an idea that he or she had not thought of. The whole thing that you just said, listen up, guys, is that number one, you get your sides, and if you don't have the benefit of a script, that means you have to give it a backstory. Your backstory, what is it that's going into this scene, coming out of the scene? What does it mean to you? Then you have to make a choice how you're going to deliver it, and then what? You got to go in that room from the minute that door opens. As you're going into audition, you have to be convincing about the choices you've made. It does not matter what you think the director wants, because you don't know.
Exactly.
And you can't call them up and say, "Hey, director, Well, I'm coming in tomorrow now. Cause you
Hey,
gotta
listen,
get,
Mr. Spielberg.
yeah, right, Miss Spielberg. Can you tell me what's going on? No, you will not have that luxury. So, I mean, Hal probably at the point of where he is in his career, and I know a lot of times with me, they will if it's something that they really want you and they're considering you for. A lot of times they will send the script. So it depends. But
Right.
where you all are in the beginning, y'all ain't getting no script. You gonna get some sides, and the same thing applies with the song. Have a
Right.
reason for singing those lyrics. It's all
Right.
about the lyrics.
Mhm.
Okay, Hal,
Yes, ma'am.
that was terrific. Have you ever been involved in whatever production, could be film, could be television, could have been a show, theater, whatever,
Mhm.
where some of the cast was just not doing what they were supposed to be doing, or one person?
Mhm.
Has that ever happened to you?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
just
every
give me a
once in a
little
while,
bit. Give
I'm
me
the
an
one
example, but
person.
don't call no names now. We gonna be nice. Don't call no names.
Look, sometimes I've been the person not doing the right thing. But
I
yeah,
doubt
certainly.
that.
Like there are times people hire, especially like in film and television. Uh, uh, Sometimes there is, how do I say this? The financial part of it is hiring somebody pretty or hiring somebody super handsome and make sure that they come in and that's what you're looking, that's what you're selling, but they don't
Hmm.
have really the skill to actually live in the part, but they are good looking. And you have to somehow work with that. I've done that a few times, and it's not always just good looking. They'll hire somebody because they're really young and they
Hmm.
wanted a young person, but that person doesn't have the skill. And
Yes.
I always just try really hard to, like, look, every artist is where they are. They start where they are, and I try
Yes.
to just bring what I can to whatever they're bringing with me. Again, I try to have an experience, but there are times when it's frustrating. I remember working with a young actress once, and I felt like I was doing everything I could, and like I was like speaking into a void. It's just like everything I said just woof, just went
Mm.
right past him, and it was
Now, was this
really
the
hard.
dialogue or just in general? Was this during the scene?
It was during the scene, so
Oh
I would say
Lord.
like, "Hey, I like your blonde. I like your blonde hair," and she would respond, "My blonde hair, you like it?"
Oh,
I go,
stop!
"Yeah,
No,
it's
shut up!
really really nice."
Hell no! You know you shouldn't lie on that poor child. No, you. Oh
I'm
Lord, are
saying
you
blonde hair.
serious?
You have blonde hair right now, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, and what comes back is clearly they rehearsed in front of their mirror,
Yes.
and they're gonna do exactly what they did in front of their mirror. And it doesn't matter if I took all my clothes off, they're still gonna respond the same exact way. And it's just like, okay, this one is hard. So,
But
but I
the
try to make
director
sure.
doesn't. But the director doesn't say anything.
Sometimes the directors do,
Oh my
sometimes they don't.
God.
Do you know what I mean? Like, again, I always land on my own technique, and I
Mm-hmm.
try not to worry about, like, look, the director has a job. They have a real job to do. I try not to
Yeah.
do their job. I try to do my job and make sure that they have something to work with. And if we
Exactly.
discuss and if they need me to help or try to, get a reaction out of a person, I'm glad to do that as well. Again, I try not to judge the other actor because we have to have a certain amount of trust. I think
Yes.
some people can work in really difficult circumstances. I think we have to have a certain amount of trust. So
Yes.
I try to be a trustworthy partner when I'm working with somebody. But yeah, I've been there. It's hard. It's tricky, but I let people do what they have to do. Some of those people become huge, giant stars just doing that. It's like, all
Just
right,
doing that. But here
just do
again,
that.
like you said, a lot of times people are hired for their body, for their face, and not necessarily for their talent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me
Mm-hmm.
ask you this. Was it easy making the transition? And then I'll tell you my story. Was it
Mm-hmm.
easy making the transition from theater to television and film? Because the technique, oh God, is so different. Was it easy for you, or did someone have to explain it to you?
Yeah, it took some time. It took a bit of time. Like some people really really were helpful. even when they weren't trying to be helpful. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But like explaining, look, the work for the actor is always the work for the actor. You have to find
Mm-hmm.
like their internal things. And then this is where the technique comes in, and knowing where, knowing where your proscenium is. If you have a big proscenium, that's a theater, and then you're speaking to that. Or if you have a small proscenium, and
That
that's,
was my problem. Go ahead.
that's and you're working there. So it really is. It took some time to just like get on camera and be on camera with other people and find like a place where I could actually just have a conversation that wasn't like I was speaking to the back of the house.
That's exactly that was the problem I ran into because I didn't know it was for Roots, and Leslie Uggams
Oh,
ended up getting that role, and she was brilliant in the role. I'm going back years,
uh-huh.
and NBC flew me out. Was it NBC? Can't I think it was NBC. Flew
Think
me
so.
out, and of course I'm projecting because all I know is theater. I had never
Right,
done any film or television.
right.
And so they told me, the director, they said, Vivian, we're probably going to give this role to Leslie Uggams. But since you're here, I'm going to point out the difference between doing theater and doing television and film.
Oh,
He was so great. So put that in the simplest terms and explain that to these young people watching about the projection in
right.
theater.
Yeah. So the difference between like I think some people will disagree, but you're doing a scene with another actor in theater. Technically, you have to make sure that you're articulating in a way that everyone can hear you, they can see you, and stuff like that. When you're doing a scene with someone in a film, you're just talking to them.
Just talking.
You're just talking to them. The camera will move wherever the camera is moving. You're just having an intimate moment with them. And so for me, what it took oftentimes is me analyzing my day-to-day, like when I'm talking to my friends or my children or my significant other or whoever, like I just notice how that's happening. And that's what you're doing for television quite often, unless it's a heightened something or other. That's a little bit different. But most conversations are just like a conversation you would have
Conversation.
walking to McDonald's,
And
you
at
know,
that level,
and at that
volume
level.
level. Mm.
Yeah, I used to, with scene partners, we used to do our scenes like over and over and over in a park. And so that it seemed like we weren't doing a scene, like we were just having a conversation. We were just like we were having a conversation in a park, though we could be talking about, Othello, but it's just as intimate as just having that kind of conversation. So
Okay, so I hope
that's as
you
simple as I can.
guys. No, that is so perfectly put. Any first of all, Hal, I just want to tell you that number one, when you were working with me as one of my dancers, you
Mm.
were a joy. I remember one time you told me, "Why you gotta always be so tense?" Do you remember saying that to me? Why y'all
You
gotta
remember
always
stuff I
be
don't
so tense?
remember.
Yes, I remember that.
No, but you're
But
professional. You're like, let's
I am
get
a
it. I'm like,
perfectionist. I
yeah,
really am. But
good. Let's get it.
I think my job as well. I think any great performer, I don't care what they do in show business, whether as they make music or they're an actor or they're theater, nightclub, concert, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think the job, your job should be, what can I do to paint layers for this audience, to add colors to my performance? What can I do to have them riveted in their seats to never want to take their eyes off of me? So that involves several things to me, and you can speak on this, Hal.
I'd love to hear
And
you.
before you can get to that point, you got to know your material. You got to know it like the back of your hand. That
Right.
requires you putting in time after you get those sides or after the director has staged the scene in a musical. Even if you're working on your own show, you have to put in the time because it's not going to descend on you. And once I feel that once you know it, really know it, that's when you can start to hone it and then look for those colors to add to it. What do you think, Hal?
You appreciate it, sister. You are telling it the truth.
Yeah.
So like I don't have to add anything to that. That is it. Like knowing it like the back of your hand. Like knowing it like the back and the front of your hand, like knowing it. And then you can just live with it. Like you can live and your emotions can swim and you can like the words just come out in whatever way that you want. And then even that you start to hone. And one of the other things that you have to know like the back of your hand is the back of your hand. You have to know you.
Oh, Lord.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to know you. You got to know what makes you tick, what makes you go this way or that way, what makes you go up or down. You got to know you. And then that material and you, and then that's all they're doing is watching.
Yeah, and it becomes one. You become one. You know, and that's what I have seen in everything that I have seen you do, the movies, the television, when I saw you in theater, that's what I have seen you do. Another performer that comes to mind is Cynthia Erivo. I mean, these I have my choices, you know, of people that deliver like this. Stephanie Mills, when she, back in the day, I would always go to a concert to see her because I knew she was going to give me something. These people have paid to see you. They have paid to see you. Or let's look at the audition process. You get hired for a show. They have picked you out of a lot of people.
Right.
So you owe it not only to yourself, but you owe it to that production staff that hired you to give them your best.
Yeah.
The best that you can. And Harold, I just want to thank you for the contribution. And he has received several nominations and several awards for his achievement in show business. I am so proud of you. So
Vivian,
proud of you. I mean,
you have
really.
no idea what that means to me. Like starting the beginning of my career and like working with you and watching how hard you work and the professionalism and the artistry, like that, like having you as part of the conglomeration of all the things in my head when I'm working, like I couldn't have asked for anything better. Like you couldn't, that it is invaluable what you bring to me, the kind of, I'm trying to find all the words. I can't express how much you mean to me. So you saying these things to me, when I get off this thing, man, I'm going to do a little dance back there. So
no, and I truly mean them because when one watches you, just like the comments, and you didn't know I was going to do that, and I said, oh Lord, maybe I should have asked Harold first. When I released that first video from when we did those shows in Italy, man, the comments, because a lot of people didn't know that you were a dancer. They were like blown away. What about your relatives? Did they know? I mean, not of course your immediate family, but like some of your distant relatives. Did they know that you danced?
They didn't, you know,
because I read some of the comments on your page when it was posted on your page, and I said, "Oh shoot, these are some of his relatives," and they didn't know. I mean, they were giving you like kudos, baby.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't. I mean, you know, because you're doing it theater. Theater is so personal, and like we were in Italy when we did it, and then we went to Paris to do it. You know what I mean? And
we did good stuff together. Oh, God.
2 years ago, I was in Paris with my girls, telling them I was standing right here because I was working with Vivian Reed, looking at the Eiffel Tower, and they're like, "You did what?
Who the hell is Vivian Reed?" How old are they?
Well, my oldest, she wasn't there. She's 26. But I was there. My two
Your oldest is 26.
He's 26.
Oh, Lord, wait a minute. Ooh, I ain't gonna tell her what 13. That does to us. Ooh.
Well, you know, I started when I was
yeah, that's right. We started when we was real young.
But the other two are 13 and 8, so they're really young. And when we went, they were a 10 and 5, and so 11 and 6.
11 and 6.
So 11 and 6 at the time, and so but. You have no idea what you mean to me,
Thank you.
to my work, to my life, to the way I am in the world. Yeah, it's just, yeah, one day I'll be able to explain it better, but
No,
I thank you.
well,
Just thank you. That's the truth.
well, thank you for
Yeah.
that. Those wonderful, wonderful words. It really makes me feel good.
Your
And
students
a
better
big
be happy. They better know what they got. Y'all better recognize.
no, they recognize, honey. When I was teaching up at Berkeley, they said, "Oh Lord, this woman is crazy," because I don't play. But at the same time, I make them laugh like you cannot believe,
Right.
And we have good times. But I just, I try to get across, even when people are not my students and they're just sending me messages on Facebook or just ask me questions about this and that. The whole thing is commitment.
Right.
It is commitment and doing whatever you're doing with conviction. So
Yeah.
thank you to Harold Perrineau for doing this video and to you guys for watching. Thank you for watching and keep looking out for different videos. It's all about show business. So until the next time, bye. Wave bye-bye, Hal.
Bye.
And we'll see you next time. And don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to like.
There you go.